In the early years of World War II, the Jews were primarily sent to forced labor camps and ghettoized, but from 1942 onward they were deported to the extermination camps under the guise of resettlement. For political and logistical reasons, the most infamous Nazi German killing factories were built in occupied Poland, where most of the intended victims lived. Poland had the greatest Jewish population in Nazi-controlled Europe, 39. On top of that, the new death camps outside of Germany's pre-war borders could be kept secret from the German civil populace. During the initial phase of the final solution, gas vans producing poisonous exhaust fumes were developed in the occupied Soviet Union, USSR, and at the Chelmno extermination camp in occupied Poland, before being used elsewhere. The killing method was based on experience gained by the SS during the secretive Action T4 program of involuntary euthanasia. There were two types of death chambers operating during the Holocaust. 14. Unlike at Auschwitz, where cyanide-based Zyklon B was used to exterminate trainloads of prisoners under the guise of relocation, the camps at Treblinka, Belzec, and Sobibor, built during Operation Reinhard, October 1941 to November 1943, used lethal exhaust fumes produced by large internal combustion engines. The three killing centers of Einsatz Reinhard were constructed predominantly for the extermination of Poland's Jews trapped in the Nazi ghettos. 41. At first, the victims' bodies were buried with the use of crawler excavators, but they were later exhumed and incinerated in open-air pyres to hide the evidence of genocide in what became known as Sonderaction 1005. 42. 43. The six camps considered to be purely for extermination were Chelmno Extermination Camp, Belzec Extermination Camp, Sobibor Extermination Camp, Treblinka Extermination Camp, Majdanek Extermination Camp and Auschwitz Extermination Camp, also called Auschwitz-Birkenau. Whereas the Auschwitz II, Auschwitz-Birkenau, and Majdanek camps were parts of a labor camp complex, the Chelmno and Operation Reinhard death camps, that is, Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka, were built exclusively for the rapid extermination of entire communities of people, primarily Jews, within hours of their arrival. All were constructed near branch lines that linked to the Polish railway system, with staff members transferring between locations. These camps had almost identical design. They were several hundred meters in length and width, and were equipped with only minimal staff housing and support installations not meant for the victims crammed into the railway transports. 44. 45. The Nazis deceived the victims upon their arrival, telling them that they were at a temporary transit stop, and would soon continue to German Arbeitslagers, work camps, farther to the east. 46. Selected able-bodied prisoners delivered to the death camps were not immediately killed, but instead were pressed into labor units called Sonderkommandos to help with the extermination process by removing corpses from the gas chambers and burning them. At the camps of Operation Reinhard, including Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka, trainloads of prisoners were murdered immediately after arrival in gas chambers designed exclusively for that purpose. 14. The mass killing facilities were developed at about the same time inside the Auschwitz II Birkenau subcamp of a forced labor complex. 47. And at the Majdanek concentration camp. 14. In most other camps prisoners were selected for slave labor first. They were kept alive on starvation rations and made available to work as required. Auschwitz, Majdanek, and Jasenovac were retrofitted with Zyklon B gas chambers and crematoria buildings as the time went on, remaining operational until war's end in 1945.